Hi everyone. We wanted to say hi. I'm sitting here with Nicole, the wonderful, beautiful, my love, Nicole. She is a mentor with the Richer Academy.
Yep.
And she gave me a wonderful gift. And we just did a session together, yeah?
Yep.
So here I am sitting with Bubs and trying to figure out how to do this whole thing and how to serve my community and my practitioners and continuing doing all this work while I'm in this stage of life.
Yep.
And here's my teacher.
The juggle is real. Yeah. We were having conversation about, how we as women decompartmentalize ourselves and kind of go, I'll do money over there and motherhood over there, and how we actually don't give ourselves the permission to do both at the same time. And I don't know about you, but part of the inner dialogue for me was this deep sense of my worthiness and my personal value around motherhood. And through that sort of external programming, patriarchal programming of my motherhood is worth nothing, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And therefore, how can I charge whilst I'm a mother? What happens to my level of service? All the questions start to come. How can I be an available mother? What happens? So its pricing becomes a bit of an issue and a challenge. Service to community. I've got not a lot to give, so how do I actually create a business that allows me to serve with all my heart? Because I want to serve the women and the men in the world to my best of my ability. But here's the ultimate truth. So I actually wrote a letter. Oh my God, that's so close. I wrote a letter to my clients. It was basically a letter saying that I am Nicole Rowan and I'm a recovering addict to mother guilt. And I will promise you that as a mama of a baby that was home, so in order to work with me at that phase in my life, I had a child. The issue for me was I needed to work out, I had a lot of immaturity, and my immaturity was at what point in my pricing am I going to put my client first and my baby last? And I didn't have the maturity or the bandwidth to feel my own personal self-worth to say I'm normally at this price. And so what I ended up doing was marginally dropping my price and writing a letter. And the letter went that I'm a recovering addict of mother guilt. But I outlined that at no point, if my baby was crying, and it was a few minutes before our session, I said, I promise that I will cancel you. So I gave and set up the container and the environment for the session to allow me the gift of motherhood. And the truth is, I was never late because I never put pressure. So I didn't have it, oh my God, I've got to get them to sleep.
If there's no starting time, you can't be late.
You can't be late.
Yeah.
And so I put an ish at the end of all of my time. So I would say it was 11:30-ish. And it would allow some spaciousness for my baby and I to be together, to slow down, to feed and go to sleep. And so I timed everything generally with feeding times. And of course that works or sometimes doesn't work. But ultimately, you need to, if there is that sense of, and you've got a little one, you have to set the container up. Once you set the container up with your clients, number one, if that woman is a mother, she's never had that happen before. Secondly, if they're a millennial, they've never had that modeled before. We've never seen this, and it's not our fault. Yeah. It's not our fault. We don't know how to do it. Our foremothers have never had this experience. So how do we even know how to do it?
Yep.
So, motherhood and money can combine, but you are the container of the permission first. You have to give yourself permission to allow this to occur, to do a Facebook Live and to be able to have it be messy. But I think the magic is in the messiness.
Yes.
And ultimately, what they gain access to you is in the most fertile, profound phase of your life.
Creative.
Yes.
Inspiring, inspirational.
Oh my God. And so to me, that's the time to get to a mother.
Yes.
Is when she is that fertile, because I want that in my business. I want that level of lusciousness and service to me. But what comes of that is I can't hold her accountable for accuracy on time. There is no time here.
Yeah, which is exactly what I'm doing at the moment with my pilot, and I just structured it in that way. And also, in other things that I've done, I did offer mentoring only to my best and closest people. And as we speak, Nin comes in.
Hi.
And we're doing exactly that. That's exactly how I'm running my business currently, with my baby in my arms, and we're sitting in my living room. I just finished a mentoring session with Nicole, and I'm starting my own mentoring session with Nin, and we do that all in the living room, around kids, around family,
100%.
around the kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what?
And it can work.
I've previously built and co-created 2 multi-million-dollar businesses, and I've only had babies around. So we had meetings with all the buyers of all the majors, the targets that came up, the everything, and all babies were present. We never separated our children out in any environment. And so it's not that but if you're from corporate, the belief is that you can't do that.
Yep.
But when you start your own business, you're not an employee to yourself. You are the leader. You are the creator. You set the tone. You set the rules. And so you include children in that. And to me, they have to come into that, because now we get to show and model the real life experience of what entrepreneurship is. Yes. This is by far the biggest gift, because their little brains are sucking in everything, whereas most things now, if we shut them off to the side, that they're in other people's environments, they don't get to see this nor experience it. So how does the next generation...
They won't learn to do it.
Correct. Well, they have to come in. And so, it would be defined as, inverted commas, unprofessional to bring a child in. Well, I call bullshit on that. That is the absolute biggest lie of the lie of the lie. It's a lie. What happens when you bring the babies in, and if you are intuitive or an intuitive healer, all you need to do is to settle in and watch the response of that child to actually be informed as to what's going on in that session. So a child is tuned in and tapped in. They're not an interruption. They are the answer to the question that was posed in that session. They are the pathway through. But we've been told they're an interruption to put them away and to put them into another room and move them out of a session. Every time I had a session, any business sessions with my women, and the kids came in, I'm like, we are in for a treat. The kids are coming in the room. And we would just settle in. And that's the same on the other side. If another one of my clients' babies came in, it would be, bring it on. What's she saying? What's he saying? How's he responding? What's going on? Because as above, so below, so within, so without.
Yeah. On
the other side is happening on my side, the client and me. It's all happening. We're in the same space. So I am a massive advocate for motherhood and money. And we need more of it.
Need want to say a few words? How? No?
Good. I love it.
Yeah? Okay. I just wanted you to share a bit about how it feels for you to be on the receiving side, because we've been doing all of our sessions with Connie in my arms.
Yeah.
And I can definitely say that it's not an interference, and yeah, it works. Especially with the sessions that I'm doing currently with the remote energy work, I actually have a chance to experience that and see what's happening when I do have a baby in my arms and I'm working on somebody else.
Yeah.
When you set it up properly, I do actually get exactly those results. What you said,
100%.
I get signs.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like he will communicate with me. I'm just making sure that he's protected and nothing goes through him.
Great.
But that's a bigger conversation, how
It
energy
is.
works.
It is.
Whether it's actually clearing him as well.
Agree.
Because when we heal someone, everybody heals. So I know it on myself. When I'm working on someone, I know that it clears those things in me as well. That's the benefit of being a practitioner, because when you work, even just if it's purely physical, even when you're working purely physical and you're doing movement stuff, the fact that you get to move with your client, you just did an exercise. You just worked on yourself.
Agree.
Yeah, so it's always, if you work properly and you don't work on people, if you work with people, as a mentor, as a practitioner, as a healer, you always end up benefiting from it. And the same, it extends to the kids.
Agree.
As well.
I agree. And, you know, with the presence of a child, it changes the energy into a more loving transaction, as opposed to the receiving of something that, for example, if you are in the mode of selling. So, for example, for us, we would do a full presentation. We'd have the, you know, so let's just say buyers from, I don't know, Kmart, Target, whatever. The fact that the children were in the room took all the pressure away. And it meant that there was a sense of family. It meant that they could feel what we created. It put them in their body. They were no longer thinking. There was joy. There was family. And so that customer, that client, then became, we weren't a company anymore. We were family. And so it changed the game for everything. And I do believe that that was why we were Australia's #1 gourmet food product for 15 years, because our suppliers were family, our buyers were family, our customers were family. And so my women that I work with are my family. And they get that insight, they get that feel, because I'm not going to package and pop off my, you know, decompartmentalize my life. I am who I am, and I give the whole of me in that moment, which includes my children.
Your family, your children, your environment, yeah.
Absolutely. But we're not taught that.
But at least we're teaching that in our communities, right?
100%.
With our clients, with our communities, with all the people around us.
And that's why when I would give this actual letter, this kind of ode, this agreement, my millennial clients would be shocked, because I was going to tell them I'm cancelling if my baby's sick, and I actually literally said, you're not my priority, right? Mm-hmm. Because they're employing me to serve them whilst I have a little baby. The truth is, you're not my priority. If my baby needs me, my baby needs me. So whilst that was a fact, the millennials who didn't have, or at least the women who didn't have children, found that really, I've just paid really great money.
It's probably triggering.
It was really triggering.
But then who will teach you to do that? If you don't have any modeling to your kids come first.
That's it.
But if it's triggering a person, it means that they were not the priority of their parents at some point, and they chose their career instead of their kids.
Yeah.
Because you would want to create your life in an expansive way where everything grows simultaneously.
Yep.
Your family gets healthier and happier, more connected. Your work grows with it. Your abundance grows with it. It has to be all of them. If it's one or the other, if you need to sacrifice family for work, fuck work.
Yeah, totally.
Who needs that?
Yeah, that's right. And then you've got that inner pull to go, well, I can't fuck work because I'm here for a purpose and I need to do this.
Yeah.
So how do I then actually live where I'm whole?
Yeah, and you don't have to sacrifice your kids then.
Correct. And the thing is, you go first. You have to give yourself permission, and you've got to be able to set these boundaries and set the tone of how you're working. That's why, for me, I had to do this little thing, and I had to write it out and really spell it, and it was done with love. And my women that were mothers cried because they realised they hadn't done that for themselves. But then they did that for every client. So what that becomes is healing of a lineage of you've just given me permission. So if you're waiting to be given permission to include your children or to see that they're not an interruption, but they're actually to be included, because when you play, get out of your head, this is when you're in your zone of genius. So all your creative, next marketing campaign or next everything comes from that place. And there's a beautiful quote, excuse me, which is to learn anew and create a new pathway, it requires 400 repetitions if you're using it through the thinking brain, and 20 or 10 through play. 20 or 10 through play, or 400 through the head. So when we are gift ourselves connection with our children, and here's the truth, you only need to get motherhood 30% right for attachment, 30%. So if any of you are sitting there going, I've screwed my kids up so badly, because you're aiming at 90, you're never going to achieve
the mother guilt.
The mother guilt, right? We only need 30%, so congratulations, you've already done the 30. You're amazing. If you're watching this, you already ticked that box. So give yourself permission, give yourself a cuddle, you only need it 30%. Hearing that changed my life. And then secondly, giving yourself the permission to include them and take the risk. Take the risk. Do it.
The right people will come. The right people will stay with you.
That's it.
The right people appreciate it.
Oh,
they actually appreciate it.
They need to see it.
Yeah.
This is the biggest act. This is the biggest act of service to humanity, where there is the colliding, the collision of value, which is I'm not separating out my money from motherhood. This is the most profound.
Because it's value. Both of them are value. I'm not separating value from value.
That's it, from value.
I'm not compartmentalizing
richness
value.
from richness.
Yeah.
And you are of greater service by being a mother, by being actually the conduit to creation right in this phase of your life. What they get from you is freaking profound. That is beyond the quality time they had with you. There is the from a quantitative perspective, that quality of connection and profound capacity to be with whilst in this phase is priceless.
It is priceless.
And we struggle with the value, right? God, do I need to charge less?
And that's exactly what I wanted to say. I wanted to thank you for that you gave me the permission, because I was sure that I'm pretty good with these things, but then I've noticed that since I had my first son, that when I'm in that phase, I feel like I need to devalue myself. Yeah. That if I have kids, it means that right now I'm less available for you, and it means that I need to lower my prices, when actually it's the opposite. It's if you want access to me when I'm in this phase of life, I might as well double my prices, because the access is limited, and I only have 1 or 2 spots to give. So
correct. This is the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And then we actually, society tells us that we aren't of value in this phase. So I think we have this invisible quill pen. Hi, sweetheart. We have an invisible quill pen that signs off mother guilt and says, I will forget who I am. I will forget my, because that next piece and that next phase I think it's a rite of passage to break through this magical freaking spell that we are of no value. And when we realise that, the mama bear that is of service to humanity, once she remembers who the fuck she is.
Yeah. Yeah. It is really powerful, and I really want to thank you for it.
You're welcome.
Love you. Thank you, honey.
See? And now the time is complete. Perfect timing.
Bye.
Bye.